The corporate world is designed for business as usual, with quarterly reports, long-term strategic plans, and rigid organizational structures designed for business as usual. The innovation challenge for organizations and individuals within them is to understand that innovation means doing something different and changing the organization and how people in the organization behave and make decisions. This allows the organization to be more sensitive to external factors, better understand customer needs, and allows it to be designed to take rapid action to address threats or to take advantage of new opportunities. Innovative organizations are designed for innovation, flexibility, and deploy a consistent innovation process. Some of the practices I've seen organizations undertake to address this are defining metrics that are linked to innovation, which are different from those linked to performance, and redesigning incentives in line with these innovation metrics. I've also seen people create open communication processes so that individuals and teams are able to present and get feedback on their ideas in an open and collaborative environment, with a feedback system designed to explain why certain ideas are rejected, in the hope they'll generate better ones next time. Innovative organizations tend to be flatter, more flexible, holding individuals more accountable through delegating responsibility and hiring people for their innovative capacity, and then training people within the organization. Organizations also identify ways to balance short-term objectives with long-term outcomes, in some cases by keeping innovation projects under the radar, in others by experimenting with possible futures. An interesting approach to this issue, identified by Chris Trimble and Vijay Govindarajan in their book Beyond the Idea, suggests that you should create two types of organization within the overall company. One they call the performance engine, responsible for delivering day-to-day results, and the other, the innovation engine, for conducting experiments about the future opportunities. They point out the benefits of having an innovation engine within a large organization rather than creating a separate organization for innovation.
My entire work is based on the three-box solution. I created it in 1980, and the three-box solution says there is a box 1, which is the performance engine. Then there is a box 3, which is the innovation engine. And for a large company to have these two, you have to have a box 2, which is a forgetting process. As an example, if you're Ford Motor Company, your box 1 is a gasoline-powered automobile, which is driven of mechanical engineering core competence. Suppose if Ford Motor Company wants to start a driverless car, which is a box 3, which depends on, let us say, computer science, artificial intelligence, etc. The point is that innovation cannot happen inside the performance engine, because the performance engine has too much forgetting to do. Because the performance engine for Ford, it makes certain assumptions about what should be in an automobile. It assumes there has got to be a gasoline-powered engine. It's going to struggle to forget that, so therefore it cannot create it. So the forgetting challenge, the box 2, is the reason you have to create a dedicated team. If you are a Marriott, brick and mortar organization, that's your performance engine, you cannot create Airbnb inside your performance engine. If you want to create Airbnb, it's got to have a dedicated team. And the reason you create a dedicated team is so that you can overcome the box 2 problem. So the three-box solution is very much connected to everything that I have done. And the box 2 is one side of the same coin as box 3. It's two sides of the same coin.
The book goes into some details about these benefits and this approach, which avoid the problems of creating two separate businesses, where the synergies between the two engines are lost, and the innovation team often develops solutions that are not relevant to the performance engine. Their book explains in some detail how senior management can manage both types of organization. Michael Tushman goes even further, identifying the specific challenges of leadership in organizations that have both innovation engines and performance engines. He calls people able to manage both types of organization simultaneously ambidextrous leaders, and explains how they can drive innovation. Michael also talks about the phenomenon of innovation inertia.
Basically, organizations don't change, but when they do change, they change in a revolutionary way. that organizational inertia is so strong. When I say inertia, its cultures, capabilities, structure, processes are so intertwined and interconnected that it holds the organization hostage to the past. So one fact that Charles and I and the field have described over the past 30 years is organizational inertia is both helpful in the short term, but a devastation in the long term. That's one point. The second point we've learned is that dynamic capabilities are rooted in playing two strategic games well simultaneously. One game is a game of executing your current strategy better than anybody on the planet. The second game is exploring into new spaces. This is a basic idea from Jim March, 1990, that dynamic capabilities are rooted in both exploiting existing capabilities and exploring into new spaces. Those two strategies are orthogonal, and the strategies required to execute your existing strategy get in the way of exploration. So Charles and I have been exploring for now several years how to both explore and exploit simultaneously. This takes place in the context of a rich literature. Clay Christensen has talked about the innovator's dilemma. That is not so much an innovation dilemma so much as it is, as Clay describes, in the disk drive industry, hard for firms to move into new markets. Rebecca Henderson has found it's hard for firms to move on architectural innovation. We have found it's hard for firms to move on discontinuous innovation. The basic idea that the field kind of agrees on is it is very hard to both explore and exploit simultaneously, whether it's technical or to different customers.
It's clear that successful innovation management requires a better understanding of human motivation, cognitions, behaviors, and decision-making. It's not just a better understanding of the potential applications of a new technology, but the understanding of how new technologies are developed and deployed, and how companies decide to exploit them, and how users adopt them. Understanding these various aspects of innovation is called innovation science. And successful innovators are not just people who invent new technologies, or even new ways of doing things, but those who are as concerned about both the implementation, transforming the idea into practice, as their adoption, taking specific action to encourage users to adopt the innovation. The secret of successful innovation for an individual requires that you understand how people will react to your idea, how to persuade them why it should be realized, and what the benefits of adoption are. Understanding the innovation process requires a better understanding of the social sciences rather than the physical science. It is first and foremost the ability to influence and change people's behaviors. This insight explains our course design and content, as well as we focus so much on innovation skills, learning how to apply innovation tools and how to deploy innovation processes. A successful innovation management process stimulates, captures, and prioritizes innovative ideas, helps develop implementation plans, and successfully manages and resources at launch. The lack of such a process limits the number of innovative ideas that can be developed, reduces their likelihood of successful adoption by users. In turn, high failure rates and the lack of an innovation process that explains why ideas are rejected or chosen discourages people from coming up with and developing innovative ideas. I hope that this explains why introducing an innovation process is an essential component of becoming more innovative and developing innovative companies.
Innovation isn't like the cartoons, bing, light bulb. That's not innovation. It's the start of something, it's a bright idea. But if we're going to do what I said a moment ago, create value from that idea, there has to be more. And that's innovation. It's a process, it's a journey, taking that idea, and the ideas are fine, but then doing something with it, revising it, shaping it, creating the reality that will create value for somebody. And that's a process, and I guess one of the key lessons we have learned about innovation is what that process looks like. It's a journey, it has a number of stages. It's typically got this kind of funneling shape, whether you have it vertically or horizontally, but it's moving from all what could be to something that's actually there. And that's true whether we're talking about a new product, a new service, a different process, a new business model. It's the same journey.